are now entering the Rant Room. Check your reason and logic at the door. It's time for your pure fan reactions. Anything goes.
That is a disgusting act, and it's unfortunate that we had that on our air live. That is disgusting.
And remember, once the Rant Room door closes, it never happened.
All right, with that, we've started the Rant Room. What do you think of Joe Buck and company there, Matt?
Was that from the Randy Moss mooning?
It was, in fact, from the Randy Moss mooning incident there. I'd use my old radio prowess to put together some sounders. Some of them might be embarrassingly Bush League, but at least provide some flavor to the show here in the early going. All right, I guess, Matt, I'll kick it to you first. We're going to try to keep this somewhat short, so I'll give you about 2 minutes here. Whatever needs to be said, say it. No strings attached. I won't hold anything against you. Let her roll.
All right, well, I got a few things here I kind of jotted down after a disappointing loss in the divisional round last year. There's a lot of things that we're all able to pick out and kind of say that there was something wrong now after the fact. First thing I wanted to touch on was the defense and Dom Capers and exactly kind of what happened last year. Go from being a Super Bowl champion with a great defense to being the worst defense of all time statistically. And seemingly the only difference was that we were missing Colin Jenkins. Even with Nick Collins missing it, we still have Clay Matthews, B.J. Raji, Charles Woodson, players that I would say are probably at the top five of their position throughout the league. And there's absolutely no reason with those kind of players that we should be that poor and underachieve that badly. A lot of players dropped off last year very bad. Tremont Williams had a bad season. A.J. Hawk was pretty much non-existent. B.J. Raji was a non-factor in the middle. And Charlie Pepper, who was a solid starter for the Super Bowl team, did basically nothing last year throughout the year. So Dom Capers being one of the biggest named defensive coordinators of all time, you would think he'd, be able to step up with that much talent and make something happen to be just pretty much destroyed throughout the year that badly. I think he's got to be held accountable as well as the players on that defense.
Yeah, I would agree with all those points there. So is that your rant?
Yeah, I guess that's what I have on the Dom Capers topic there, unless you have something else to add.
No, I was just going to let you go crazy, and then I was going to go probably a little crazier after that, since that's kind of my nature. But do you have any more to say about that?
No, I guess that's about it.
Okay, well, it sounds good. There's a good I can't really argue any of those points, but I might have a little more venom as you introduced me before. Sometimes I get a little upset, but I'll agree with you 100%. The main thing, that defense, the main things that I have to say about last year, the first thing that I think of, and it's completely not fair, is the year as a whole. The worst part about winning a Super Bowl is that they have to play a season after that. I just feel that 2010 is as fabulous as it was and as amazing of a ride as it was. I hope it's not like 96, where as the years went by, 96 was fantastic, but when you look back at 96, you can't help but to get a pit in your stomach thinking about 97. And that one they got further. They got 30 yards away from tying the Super Bowl with less than a minute to go. This one they didn't get even started in the playoffs. But it's hard to describe. And it really starts, and we won't get into this now, but it really starts to question, what is the real Packers? Is it the one-and-done team that's kind of a lot of fluff and not much substance when the going gets tough, like they were in 2009 and like they were last year? Or are they the 2010 gritty team with a lot of guys who are superstardom bound? And the defense, I think that's the other thing, and I think about that whenever I think of last year, is that if they had anything else but the absolute worst defense statistically in the history of the NFL, they would have gone down as one of the greatest teams of all time. And now I don't think anybody's going to even remember that. People around here are going to remember it. I don't even know if that's the biggest moment in the Giants' playoff run. I mean, people will talk about it, but they basically whooped the Packers. They made it look easy. It's not going to be the dramatic moments like they had in San Francisco or in the Super Bowl. They're just going to be a team that basically won the Super Bowl, and nobody's going to remember what happened the year after, like so many Super Bowl champions. And I guess I was hoping that our team was different, but it turned out maybe they weren't.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the window can be so small sometimes, like you said, with 96. After we win the Super Bowl last year, you just kind of assume, well, we're going to be there, maybe every other year after that for the next 10 years when Aaron Rodgers is around, but it just doesn't always work out that way. So I guess we got to hope this time around that things will be different and that we'll have a little more sustained success with Rodgers.
Yeah, I definitely hope so. And I don't know about you, but I find myself like last year and even after 2009, I guess when you're the hunter instead of the hunted, it's a little different. But even coming into the 2010 season and certainly last year, it just felt like I felt so confident that they were going to win the Super Bowl and or at least contend for it and give it a really, really good shot. I guess you can never say you think they're going to win it. But now that they've won it and then they had the letdown last year, I kind of feel back to the ways I felt in 07 and 08 and 04, where it just kind of feels like, yep, these are the Packers. They're a real good team. There's no reason they can't win the Super Bowl, but they won't.
Yeah, I kind of have a little bit different feeling with that. After the 2007 and 2003 seasons, I still had pretty fond memories of that team, and maybe just because the wound's so fresh with this year, but looking back on it, going 15-1 and losing like that, I just have such a sour taste. And after 07 and after that run, even after the season, it's like, well, we didn't quite expect this. It was a great season, and we made it all the way to the NFC Championship game. Mm-hmm. We should have went further, but I love that team, and I love pretty much every player on that team, and it just doesn't quite have the same feeling this time around to me, I guess.
No, I agree. I think 07, came out of absolutely nowhere. And I think with 03 too, I mean, all those Sherman teams, I think of the Sherman era pretty positively. I know it's kind of panned around by Packer fans, but anybody with a honest set of eyes, especially those 03 and 04 teams, they were overachievers in every sense of the word. You really never expected them to do anything. I mean, I know people now really rant about the aforementioned Randy Moss Moon game, but was anybody honestly surprised that an 8-8 team came in and pretty much ran them out of Lambeau Field?
Yeah, I think that defense that year in 2004 was probably worse than last year's, even though statistically they weren't quite as bad, but that was just a horrible defense.
Hey, don't be hating on Joey Thomas now.
When Joey Thomas and Ahmad Carroll are contributors, you have problems.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that was a good start, and I guess that's kind of our honest assessment on 2011. I hope I can still have fond memories of Thanksgiving and the Falcons game, and certainly the opener that I had the fortune of attending. And probably the best memory, I think, that I'll close with from last year is the Matt Flynn 6-touchdown game.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, with that, that's our first rant room, but it's time to leave, and leave all the baggage in here. It's time to get back to business.
Stand back. The Rant Room doors are now closing. Time to return to being somewhat professional.
A little earlier in the show, I said inappropriate words, so I want to apologize, and I hope I didn't offend anyone.